I've now bought my third Mazda RX-7, which you've already seen in another video that, funny enough, hasn't actually been recorded yet because there's still a few things I'm waiting on. Is this one in much better condition than either of the other two that I bought? Kind of. I bought this car completely sight unseen off Facebook Marketplace for, honestly, probably a little bit too much. So what exactly did I get? Well, I do have a front bumper, but it is so ugly and beaten up that I've just taken it off. We also had to take it off to even get it onto the trailer to ship it up to Illinois because the car is that low. I absolutely want to raise the ride height. In fact, the ride height is so low that the fenders and rear quarter panels are actually damaged from it, despite being rolled already. Believe me, it's actually way lower than it looks. I struggle to get this out of the driveway. You can also see that the exterior paint is in really bad condition. However, you might have noticed the wheels that are on it, and you're probably thinking, is this a real OEM Infini sticker? Did I actually buy a real FC Infini for a ridiculously cheap price? Well, I don't know. At least for the second question. For the first question, no, this is fake. I made it myself. In fact, I'll probably start selling these. But anyway, we don't know if this is actually an Infini or not. There's several clues to what trim level this is, but we haven't been able to figure it out because there's no explicit telltale sign, and Mazda Japan hasn't gotten back to me after I sent them the chassis number. But anyway, it'll be a lot of work to get this really looking good. Though, shockingly, the interior actually seems to be in relatively good condition. Most of the interior is actually here, though it's a little bit rough. You can tell this definitely used to be someone's race car or drift car based off of the drift button handbrake, the random Ariamemia and R-Magic stickers, which I don't even know if there's actually parts from those brands on here, the completely random mismatched interior, the suspension, and finally, there's very clearly signs that there used to be a roll cage in this car. Lifting up the rear carpet, I saw some holes for mounting a roll cage, and I also noticed a hole in the carpet in both the driver and passenger side for where a roll cage used to be. But this car also has rear seats, which are very rare in the US, but very common in Japan, though those rear seats kinda suck and pretty much only exist for tax purposes. Now the hood itself is very ugly, so personally I'd much rather focus on what's under it. Ignore this is from me, I'll explain later. This is also from me. Now full disclosure, I have cleaned the engine bay a bit since I bought it, so it does look a little better than when I actually got it. There was also a really ugly windshield sticker that I took off, so you can thank me for that too. Alright, I just got my new FC JDM. I've confirmed it runs, but very first thing I'm doing, you can see this thing is pretty rough. Very first thing I'm doing, I'm getting rid of that. The guy I bought it from told me that he replaced all of the hoses and belts in the engine bay, which it actually looks like he did, so thank you, Curtis. But he also said that he thought the engine itself was completely stock. I can assure you, it's not. When I took this car on a test drive and I floored it, in terms of power and acceleration, it felt very similar to my friend Michael's FD, which you'll almost certainly see on the channel in a future video. But that leads me to believe that this is definitely not running stock boost pressure, despite having a stock ECU, which I took apart and it does not appear to be chipped. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. There's also this big blow-off valve, which sounds like this. I don't know if the engine itself is either bridge ported or just aggressively street ported. But it's definitely ported. It's very torquey. It pins you to your seat, despite just being a little 1.3 liter. Now I would fire it up right now and go on another test drive to get on video, but there's a few things that need to be fixed first. First off, the alternator died. Now I did a little bit of research and it seems that an FD alternator, which is 100 amps, should just wire right in and replace the stock 80 amp alternator. Now that's perfect because I actually put an FD alternator on my old FC. I was gonna get a video out about it, but I just never did. So I actually took that alternator, which only had like 2,000 miles on it, and I now have it ready to swap into here. There's another issue that really makes me not want to drive this. One of the issues I'm worried about actually has to do with the little part down here, the distributor. Now, since this car is from Japan and almost certainly not stock, I can almost guarantee that it is tuned for Japanese 100 octane fuel. That translates to about 95 to 98 octane here in the US, which I don't have. The highest octane fuel in my area is 93 octane, which isn't quite enough. So I'm gonna have to change the ignition timing a little bit to make it ready for US gas. But there's another bigger issue. On a turbo RX-7, a bigger diameter exhaust can actually lead to damage of the turbo and the engine itself, either through overboosting or overspooling the turbo or anything else like that. That's very much not good and something I do not want. And as you can see, we've got a massive fart cannon. While I would love to swap in a full Racing Beat exhaust, which would be much quieter, probably perform better, and sound really good, I don't have the money for that right now, or the time. So instead, I want to use a part that I actually do have right now, which, again, I took off of my old RX-7. I want to install my AFR gauge, which is what the wiring was for in the engine bay. That way I'll be able to make sure the car is not running lean, and is actually running a little bit rich, which you need in rotaries. If it is running lean, then I'll have to buy a few more parts, but they were parts that I wanted to buy anyway. But if our AFRs look good and perfect, yay. I know people are gonna comment about the heart-shaped taillights and they're probably gonna love them, but they have to go. One, they're not my style, and they're not really going for the design that I want for this car. And two, they're actually damaged. Now you can see right here is cracked and it's separating from the orange part of it, and right here is just completely falling apart. There's also lots of chips and scratches all over, and on this side it almost looks like it was melted. We're also missing the center part that's for the license plate itself, which I cannot mount a plate without it. Luckily, I lowballed someone on Facebook Marketplace and got what I think are pretty decent condition rear Series 5 taillights for $320 at least. Anyway, it's starting to rain, so I'll cut back when I'm able to actually get some work done. Alright, so here's something I wasn't expecting, but it's a very good thing I lowballed that guy, because I noticed this was actually a piece of tape, so I took it off, and that's what was underneath. So it's a little bit damaged and a little bit broken, so we're going to try to do a little bit of custom fabrication to save this. If I can't save it, then oh well, not too big of a deal, because again, I lowballed the guy like crazy. We're going to use some JB weld. This probably isn't the method you're supposed to, but whatever, it works, it's what I have, and it's cheap. Now that I remember it, JB Weld does smell kind of awful, doesn't it? So I proceeded to repair the taillights in the most janky way that I could, basically using JB Weld as body filler, sanding it down, painting it, and polishing it. I also went ahead and did the exact same thing for the license plate bracket. And as you can see, I also went ahead and polished up the other taillight, and it actually looks really good. It turned out amazing. The taillights themselves weren't too difficult to remove either. Now we got this taillight out. It was pretty much just loosening a bunch of 10mm nuts, taking out the bulbs, and popping the taillights out. Then it's the reverse process for putting the new ones in. I would also like to ask to please subscribe if you haven't already. I honestly forget to ask every single time, and almost no one who watches my videos is actually subscribed. So if you could, I would greatly appreciate it. That looks pretty good. I still have to clean it up a little more, but wow, that actually looks great. Okay, I'm gonna bolt that in now. I also had to add a license plate onto the car so that the HOA wouldn't ask us questions as long as they didn't look too closely. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the alternator is dead, so I decided to take it out now and swap it with the FD alternator from the old car. Though unfortunately... Well, a little update, I ordered a new alternator because I couldn't get that one to fit. Guess what I just did, and now I just spent $200 on an alternator I don't need. So, that's fun. It works. It sounds ported. When you're in person, you can very faintly hear it going like brup, 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 so I think it is ported. It smells terrible though. Finally, it was running again, and there was nothing that was going to happen that would make it stop running. Right? First startup smells awful. The car was low enough that I actually had to buy an all-new low-profile jack just to raise it up. so that I could raise the suspension.
I stopped streaming on TikTok. Basically what I did is I just loosened this bit down here, and I was able to grab the coilover by hand and just turn it to lift it up and then retighten it. I used an old damaged rubber mallet that my dad had and a screwdriver. So I guess now we work on the oil change. Underneath this car actually doesn't look bad at all. Let's see if I remembered right. There we go, and there we go. There we go. That's how you do it nice and smooth. I'll set that over there. Yeah, that can just stay there. Now we'll just let it drain. Ooh, that looks really dark. Okay. All right, now while that's draining, another thing I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to eventually get this idle air control valve off, and I'm gonna have to clean it because I think it's all gummed up with carbon and does not want to work right. There's our old oil. Luckily I don't see... Is that sparkly? Oh, do we have sparkly oil? All right, now we've got some Valvoline VR1 that we're gonna put in it. Now I know what people say, don't put synthetic in a rotary engine, but blah, 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 carbon deposits, blah, 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 red line, you get the idea. So I did an oil change, topped off on coolant because I have a leak, put the wheels back on, and lowered the car back to the ground. Oh yeah, that's actually barely raised at all. It probably looks like a ton of time has passed because of all the leaves on the ground and the snow on top of the car, but in reality it's only been maybe like 2 weeks since I started recording this video. The weather just changed like crazy. But today is the only day in the past couple of days where it's actually above 40 degrees, so there's a couple of things I want to get done. You can also see I took the mirrors from my old one and put them on. These are probably some of my favorite mirrors of all time, and it just makes it even better that they're OEM. Some of the stuff I wanted to do, like the transmission and diff fluid, I can't do right now, so I have something else in mind. Now, just having a very rare and cool part isn't the only reason that I want to replace the gauge cluster. Another reason is that a lot of the gauges just don't work, and I think it might be the connections that are behind them, so might as well buy one that's in mint condition. Can you tell I've done this before on the old one? It's a little crusty. I'll have to see if I can find the cruise control wiring, because I got the switch right here. Sounds like it works. It feels really nice to press on. That is a good feeling switch. It is like brand new. And then of course we have the new gauge cluster, which I think looks absolutely amazing. I did clean and polish it a bit, so. All right, I have no idea how much was actually captured, but my phone died. I have a battery pack hooked up again. Look at how nice this gauge cluster looks. I mean, now of course that's inaccurate, but I don't know how to fix that, which is really annoying, but I didn't tamper with that, so not illegal. Oh wait, are the gauges working? Yes! A lot of smoke, very, very shaky. Okay, that sounds bad. I think it's definitely got a misfire.
So unfortunately, the FC decided to stop working. Well, hopefully it's not anything too bad.